Welcome viewers, it's Mark, the landlocked surfer, coming at you today with another review. This time it's something that seems almost too good to be true. We're reviewing the Decathlon SurfSkate, which comes in at a shocking $130 US. Compare that to some of the other manufacturers where you'd easily spend between $250 and $400, and I had to try this out and see it with my own eyes. The deck itself has a nice shape. It almost reminds me of the Lost Mayhem series of surfboards. They're roughly 33 inches in length and 10 inches wide. There's a slight concave from rail to rail, but the board is relatively flat if you look at it from nose to tail, with just a slight upturn at the kicktail. Despite the low price, I find the board looks really nice. It doesn't look like something that jumps out as being a cheap board. One extra that I really like is this soft foam traction pad. If you like riding barefoot, this is the way to go. The board comes equipped with 65mm 78A wheels and ABEX 7 bearings. They work fine. The trucks look solidly built, and they do have a pretty good degree of pivot like most surf skates will have. One really clever feature that they've added is giving you some customization here. You can see you can move the trucks to shorten or lengthen the wheelbase in half-inch increments. So I've been riding the board for a couple weeks now, and the only major design flaw that I've come across, which isn't a game changer, but something a little annoying, is that the bolt where the front kingpin is, it actually sticks out past the flat point of the front trucks. So grinds are very much out of the question because that's just going to snag, and if you happen to be in a quarter pipe and hit the coping, you're going to fall. Here's an example of what to expect when your front bolt hits the coping. Ouch. So with all the boring stuff out of the way, let's take a look at how the board performs. Having the ability to pump to generate speed and get those really deep carves is a defining feature of a surf skate, and it's really where I had the least expectations of this board given the price. And here's where I was pleasantly surprised. The trucks swivel freely and quietly. It doesn't feel like a knockoff surf skate. I will say that the Oxelo board doesn't carve as deeply as my Carver or my waterborne surf adapter. However, I'm not sure that that's necessarily a bad thing. It just feels like a bit different style than you'd get. So if you want to have a quiver of different boards, this one feels a little more stable, sort of like a hybrid of a surf skate and a traditional skateboard. One thing I noticed about this board is you can get it moving fast. It accelerates quickly from a standstill just through pumping. And that might be partially due to the durometer of the wheels that it uses. So they are very sticky, and I find that super helpful when you're trying to get grip, when you're trying to carve around bowls, and when you're pumping on the flats. A drawback of those soft sticky wheels is I found that at concrete skate parks they don't really slide well. So if you're trying to do some slashes and snappers and cutbacks, they don't slide very well on the concrete because they do tend to stick, and you really have to muscle them to try and get any movement whatsoever. If you do happen to have access to a skate park that has surfacing that's made of skatelite or masonite, I find that this board has the perfect mix of grip and slide, so you can really pump right up to the transition and then work on your surf moves on the bank. It's a lot of fun. For this style of riding, I found this board to be the perfect size for me. I've used a 27-inch, a 31-inch, and a 44-inch, but this 33-inch one allowed me to get into my regular surf stance, so my feet were roughly the same width apart as I would have them on my surfboard. That small little change made a big difference because it gave me a level of comfort to try things that I might have been more hesitant to try with a board that I had to adjust my stance slightly for the particular surf skate I was on. I'd mentioned previously that this board doesn't carve quite as deep, but it does feel stable, and that's really helpful when doing stuff like this pump track. It's nice to have a variety of different boards that can be used in different applications, and this one I found is a pretty good all-around board. Sometimes when I really miss surfing, I like to ride barefoot so I can get that board feel under my feet. And this is probably the most comfortable of any of the surf skates I've ridden with bare feet. It's got that nice traction pad at the back that's made of soft foam, and the front, instead of grip tape, is lacquered on sand. So it's a little bit softer, but still gives you plenty of grip so you'll stay on your board and your feet stay planted. In terms of downsides, aside from the issue with the bolt and the kingpin that I already pointed out, it's mainly just personal preference. I would prefer if the tail had a little bit more lift, which would have helped with being able to do kick turns. If you're doing any kind of skate tricks like manuals, that would have been helpful. And when you try to drop into a bowl, there's not really a lot to latch onto there. But otherwise, no real complaints from me. At the end of the day, this board exceeded my expectations. If you're looking to buy your first SurfSkate to start to get into it, you can't go wrong with this one. And even if you already have one or more SurfSkates, I didn't expect this to become my go-to, but that's what it is right now. So it just gives you one more option to have in your quiver. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that subscribe button. Living 8 hours away from the ocean, my mission to find a substitute for surfing will never be over. So until next time, take care.